from the moment I found out that they weren't gonna use John Williams for this film, I was hoping it'd be Michael Giacchino. Giacchino, Italian, very Italian name. I've actually seen him. I saw him speak at Epcot. He is he's an admirable fellow. I wish him the best with his career, and he seems like he's going to have a very memorable career. I honestly
4 weeks for the next movie.
here's a tangent which I'm going to use. When you look at old scores, I mean, what are some of the most memorable films of our time are really connected to some incredible scores. I mean, and John Williams, of course, perhaps the king of great scores. I mean, when you think of Superman, I don't think of the new Man of Steel theme. I think of dun 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 dun.
It has a
Huh? Yeah. Arguably, Star Wars without its music would be missing its soul. Uh, very. Try watching. I really would like to. If nobody has done this, I'd like to re-edit Star Wars with a generic modern day score, and it would fall flat. I bet you it would.
absolutely right.
My point is, where are the composers that used to craft these incredible themes from Jerry Goldsmith, Miklos Rosa, James
Adore
Horner?
what?
Name other than animated films, all right? Just a distinction here. Name some scores from the last decade that really rank up with any of the scores 1990s and prior.
How do you feel about the Pirates score?
That is probably one of the exceptions, in my opinion. I'm not saying that they don't exist, but it is a rare exception to find a score that really has its own, that leaves such a distinct imprint on you. And there are a few exceptions. I think the new Sherlock Holmes films had really good music,
Hello.
um, and there'll be a couple here and there, but really, I think the art of an iconic film score is kind of lost nowadays. A lot of the music that you hear in film, really, in films, like, depends on the film. You're not gonna have this drama, this biting family drama, and suddenly hear the Back to the Future theme, as awesome as that would be. Um,
Is it a generational thing too, Demos? Because I would ask, let's go to Batman and the Dark Knight in specific. What's his big thing? It's bruh, bruh. Oh, look, there's two notes. BS. 1989, the Tim Burton Batman. I don't remember the composer, but God help me.
Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman.
Of course, Elfman, duh. But dude, dude, that is the one thing, as somebody who played in band for so long in high school and in college, that if I could redo it all again and have an opportunity to play in a score of any sort, I don't care how bad the product was, to be able to see that music and at least have a shot to practice. Oh my God.
It was one of the first times I actually really noticed how important a score is to a movie. Granted, it's not like I didn't know this, but this is the first time they really jumped out at me. Um, it actually brings us back to something that we discussed in our first episode, Paul Hogan. You remember the original Crocodile Dundee? It actually had a very distinct theme, that na 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 theme. You know,
Not, for me to comment because when you did that, it sounded like '60s Batman. But I'll
Well, it's. I mean, I'm not comparing its score to like the top echelon of scores. Uh, its composer Peter Best did a fine job with those first two films. They kept that theme, and then when Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles came out, they excised that theme. It wasn't in that film, and they used a very generic kind of Western kind of Western Australian uh, country music in it. And God, it felt the film felt like it was missing part of what made it so memorable. And that's really um, for me, for the first time that I realized uh, how much uh, how much music really adds to the identity of a film.
You're right, because I'll tell you, like you talk about the Dundee theme, but then you're like, oh, and then the second one was just awful because it didn't have the same musical score. When you said that, I pictured a crocodile coming out of the water. Whoa.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm saying I want to see the return of some. If you're gonna have, especially if you're gonna have a mainstream action popcorn movie, I want to hear some iconic themes. Do you remember the theme of Transformers? Do you remember the theme of half these damn action movies that have come out?
Oh,
Uh,
I remember the cartoon. My bad.
and they don't even use the Transformers theme in the films. I mean, you hear, I think in the end credits you hear a little bit. Of course, I mean I can't really speak for the rest of them. I've only seen the first Transformers film. I remember hearing a few sound effects that implied that theme, but nothing. Pirates, funny enough, I think is one of the very good examples of a modern day iconic theme, but they're few and far between.
I could pick scores from HBO original series that are better than a lot of the John Adams score was great. Of course, Game of Thrones, duh. You know.
Yeah, a
Anyway,
lot of the Showtime shows as well. One that comes to mind is Dexter or 6 Feet Under. Both had incredible opening.
yeah, no doubt.
Um, but Gone are the opening theme songs from like sitcoms that we used to love. Imagine if they made Fresh Prince of Bel Air nowadays, it wouldn't have that opening theme song. Imagine that.
Uncle Phil comes on the screen. Whoa.
It's it's him.
Do you know how humiliating it is to have a son who can't swim?
Oh, poor Uncle Phil. You know, I feel bad. You know, he recently passed away, right?
I know.
Yeah. You know, he was also the voice of Shredder.
I did know that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Shredder, if Shredder's showing up and going, "Boom," I can
Well,
accept that.
I can't because they chosen to have no theme songs to jam, son.
Oh, I'm not saying replace the theme song. I'm just saying when Shredder shows up and they just go, "Boom," I'd be okay with that.